Who will be Coach Prime in Colorado's next coaching hire? Earlier this week, Coach Prime did tease that more are coming. It came out that Byron Leftwich will be joining the staff about Wednesday, but there's one more that we have yet to hear about. Coach Prime always loves surprises.
And he did say, you're going to hear about one this week and probably one next week, and they're both huge.
Yep. Who wants to start?
It's going to be hard to top Marshall Falk and Byron Leftwich.
True.
But again, if Coach Prime is teasing this up and kind of hyping this up, we got to kind of take his word for it, because I don't remember a time that he's really lied to us in terms of the media. So the name that came to my mind was a GOAT at what he did, and that was return kicks for touchdowns, and that's Devin Hester. That's the name that just keeps coming back to my mind, especially after this week when we heard special teams coach Michael Pollock talk about the fact that, this is a direct quote here, he goes, "We're excited about some additions to our coaching staff that are going to help us in the return game." Coach Pollock also mentioned the fact that Coach Prime was disappointed that Colorado only had one return touchdown last season, which actually, when you think about it, really doesn't make any sense with the LeJontay Wester and the Jimmy Horn and the Colton Hood on that team. I really feel that, Coach Pollock feels that from Coach Prime, that he didn't like that part of this team, that they weren't explosive in the return game with all the athletes that they had. I think Devin Hester coming in would be just what the doctor ordered in terms of giving those returners some real game, real tidbits of just little things, because that's really all special teams is in terms of the return game. It's just little things. If you can just block it up the right way, if you can hit this angle the right way, it's going to be something special. And we already heard from Pollock as well, some of the guys who are going to be back there returning punts. The freshman Quinn Gibson back there returning kicks, Cam Michael, Devin Hester's kind of tutelage would be invaluable for those guys.
Yeah, and the thing about this, too, that I've heard Coach Prime talk about, and I almost guarantee Devin Hester would talk about, is these guys that were blocking for me knew.
Yeah.
They did their job.
Facts.
We were getting 6. And I think that's more important than anything that they can teach the returners, although, of course, Devin Hester is going to give the returners tons of game if he were to come in, and Coach Prime already does. But it's about blocking it up.
Yep.
And, taking a little bit of a risk that if I can hold this block a little extra longer, then, we're going to go to the house. One last thing on this. Coach Prime rarely wants to say anyone's better at something than him.
Yeah.
Sure.
And he was talking about return. He said, I was the best. And then he said, all right, I was the second best.
He said 1B. He said 1B.
Yeah.
He talks a lot about special teams being special, right?
Yeah, man.
We finally have a special teams coordinator this season, formally, but also if you want to take it to the next level, that's what you would do. Bring in someone like a Devin Hester to maybe even just help scheme up some returns, or just even give the guys some advice, give the blockers ahead some advice. One name I want to throw out, though, Byron Leftwich got added, right?
Yeah.
We already have an offensive coordinator who was kind of doubling as quarterbacks coach. Coach Liv kind of doubles as safeties coach. What if you bring in a true safeties coach, someone like Ed Reed, who Coach Prime already has an established relationship with? They go way back, obviously, another gold jacket, but the 3 years ago, remember when Ed Reed was hired at Bethune-Cookman and how that whole thing went down, and just how Coach treated him like a brother almost, like giving him advice, kind of guiding him through.
FaceTiming him every day.
Exactly. What better way to kind of, advance that than bring him in under your wing formally on the coaching staff, of course, and a great returner as well.
Yeah.
But there's a position available. You could be the safeties coach. You don't have to have a massive role right away. That's just where I'm at.
I would love to see some stuff just get taken off of Robert Livingston's plate as the defensive coordinator. If he can just kind of really oversee things as a true coordinator instead of really being locked in with those safeties, as I'm sure he already is, as a former safeties coach in the NFL. That could be potentially really, really dope. And again, this is somebody in Robert Livingston who I'm sure Coach Prime is, he's thinking ahead. He's probably trying to prepare him as best as he can to be a head coach, whether that's in college or the NFL one day. This would kind of allow him to kind of delegate Robert Livingston, delegate to, Ed Reed and the rest of that defensive staff. That could be special, bro. I like that idea.
All right, I'm going to throw one more name in here.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
This is a guy who talked to the team last year, and when he was talking to them, I thought to myself, this man has so much to give this generation. And that's Ray Lewis. The passion that he spoke with, the gems that he dropped when Ray Lewis spoke to this team, I just thought to myself, like, he's cut out for this. he wants to see these kids succeed. He wants to see them reach their potential. He wants to do anything and everything he can to help them get there. And I think that a lot of all the guys that are on the staff now, the former NFL players, got a call from Coach Prime at some point.
Yeah.
And he said, I need you.
Right.
I need you to come here and do this. And not a single one of them balked at that.
How are you going to tell him no?
Yeah, exactly.
How are you going to tell that man no?
And I think that if Coach Prime were to call up Ray Lewis and say, I need you here, he'd be on the next flight.
And just what we saw last year with George Hilo coming into the staff, kind of helping out Coach Hart with those linebackers. Like, I could totally see them bringing in, another assistant to help out with linebackers just because that's what they've done in the past few years.
Absolutely. Regardless, thinking about Devin Hester coming here, not only would it help this year in the return game, it also helps in recruiting. I mean, you're a guy who's a returner.
Yes.
Think of no one even knows a special teams coach on any other school.
Sure.
Or you could play for Devin Hester and Coach Prime.
Right.
Period.
It's over.
I just think about Ray Lewis just from an attitude perspective. Has to be one of the most fiery guys, intense guys that has ever played football suited up, in a football uniform. And just the attitude, I feel like he would add to this defense, give it more so of just a fierce identity. Yeah. I feel like that is really more invaluable than what he might bring from an X's and O's perspective.
Absolutely. Going back to the speech we did a whole segment on a show last year probably talking about the speech. Like, it was that impactful. You could tell for the players, shoot, it even hit us a bit. I mean, the guy clearly has, wisdom that just goes almost beyond this world, honestly.
Yeah.
He's an advanced football mind, but he's also just, very thoughtful and intelligent when it comes to life. So that always seems to be an emphasis of Coach Prime, right? Like, he wants to help mold young men as well. Even Marshall Falk, he was doing work in like the financial sector, and Coach Prime has been huge on how important that is to him to teach these young men at Colorado right now. Not just about football, not just about life, but I mean, if you're going to be in this position, you're going to be dealing with a lot of money. Let's take care of it. Let's make sure you're set up for the future. So it's more than football with Ray Lewis. And I think Ed Reed could fall into that category as well.
What a world we live in. What Hall of Famer is coming to Boulder next?
You imagine Sapp coaching the boys up front along with Pecco, Coach Hart and Ray Lewis coaching the second level, Coach Liv, Coach Prime, and Coach Mathis coaching the secondary like that. It would not get no better than that. And it's already pretty scary. But let us know in the comments, y'all, who y'all want to see as the next addition to this coaching staff.
And keep it tuned to DNVR Sports on YouTube and follow the show. See you soon.